Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another Swiss release draft at this point, Battle for Zendikar. Beastcaller Savant. Have not done this one. It's an ally, 2 mana, it's got haste, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. It's kind of cool for a 3 to 4 color ally deck. Grove Tender Druids, you can pay 1 and you get plant creatures when allies enter. That's not bad. I kind of feel like I want this Vile Aggregate. I played it during pre-release in a sealed event, and I thought it was wonderful. It's actually just a really powerful card, and a good body that you get for 3 mana. I think we'll take this one to start it off. I had a good experience with it. Okay, follow-up pick. Well, we have the Predator, which beats down very well. We have Stasis Snare, which is a pretty powerful removal spell, very strong. Despoiler, which is okay. I think the choice for me really is between Stasis Snare and Valakut Predator, and it's actually kind of close. The reason to take the Predator, it's an efficient beater, and it stays on color with our first pick. The reason to take the Stasis Snare is just a really powerful removal spell that you can flash in. Neither are exactly in the Vile Aggregate archetype, which is mostly just a bunch of colorless, either devoid creatures or, spawn tokens or whatever, artifact creatures as well. I think I'm actually going to take the Stasis Snare. I think Valakut Predator is good and staying on color would be fine, but I think Stasis Snare is actually pretty insane. Okay, pick number 3. Well, what have we got? We got Blade Master, which I guess is technically in red and white. We have Pilgrim's Eye, which fixes. I think for the most part, I was just thinking of after my last draft that I feel like I'm gonna try and play 3-color most of the time in this format. Whether or not that's right kind of remains to be seen. Eyeless Watcher feels like it's really good with the Vile Aggregate. Pilgrim's Eye is fine with the Vile Aggregate too. I think Eyeless Watcher is just a better card, getting 3 bodies for 4 mana in a format that's got a lot of rewards for team pumping. Angel of Renewal is definitely good in white as well. I mean, the Blade Master seems like a card possibly worth trying, but I'm going to actually take this Eyeless Watcher. I think that I like the token cards a lot in this format. I think they're very good. Okay, so we've got Evolving Wilds, Core Castigator. Out of the 3 cards I have, well, they're all, I would say, I guess Eyeless Watcher is the weakest, but it's still very good. If I had to make a pick of some, I mean, I guess I'd want to most stay on board with Stasis Snare because I think it's just a really powerful instant speed removal spell that deals with everything. So it might be an argument for Castigator, but I think Snapping Gnarlid is a better card than Castigator. It's also not an ally though, whereas Castigator is. Castigator would be a better follow-up to the 5-drop red-white pick. I think I want to take the Snapping Gnarlid here. Especially since, like I said, I think I most often want to end up playing 3-color. And to me, playing 3-color means it's pretty much essential, I would say, if you're playing 3-color, that you need green to make that work. Okay, we have Rot Shambler, which pairs well with the Eyeless Watcher. We have Tajuru Stalwart, which works well with a 3-color plus deck. We have Eyeless Watcher. Well, I mean, 3-color basically is the best you can get out of the Stalwart. Another Eyeless Watcher is probably fine too. Cliffside Lookout looks like a great card with the Eyeless Watcher. How good is Rot Shambler? I'm not exactly sure. I feel like it's got to be a pretty powerful card. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on that, how good it is yet. I think I'm going to take the Shambler here. I feel like I'm more likely to find more tokeny cards. Wow. Turn Against is phenomenally strong. I've mentioned that before. I think Invoker is very good. I think I'm actually just going to take the Turn Against, though. I think this card is just one of those kind of game-changingly strong 5-drop cards, since it essentially can, during their attack steps, take their strongest attacker and then block their second strongest attacker with it, possibly killing them both. Or an active treason effect at worst, which is still really good. So I'm just going to slam that one. Okay, Call the Scions. Core Blade Whirl to keep the Stasis Snare, but Stasis Snare might just not work out. All right, Cosmic Sentinel 2. I think I want the Call to Scions more than the Sentinel. Sentinel's got a great body on it, but it doesn't interact quite the same. I mean, Vile Aggregate is like insane with token producers, but Sentinel is like not that insane with token producers. It's still pretty good with both Call to Scions and Eyeless Watcher since it gets buffed. But I think because Call to Scions ramps as well, I'm going to take that over the Sentinel. All right, well, there's Inspired Charge, but it's a little more color intensive than I'd like, I think. There's Boiling Earth, which is a card I actually think is pretty good. There is Tajuru Stalwart, which would motivate me to go more of 3 colors, but it's going to be tough to do Stasis Snare if I'm only splashing white. Boiling Earth tends to go so late, I kind of don't need to pick it here. It is good against us. I might just take the Stalwart. Like I said, I definitely like 3 color in this format, I believe. It's still too early to say that without any shred of doubt, but for the most part, I do think I like 3 color in this format quite a bit. Swell of Growth is fine. Don't have a ton of reward for it yet. We do have the Snapping Gnarlid, and green's got some good landfall. In white, we have Cub and Tactics that are both fine, but white may not be our 3rd color. I probably like Earth and Arms more than most right now. It might turn out to be a terrible card, but I think we still probably just take the Swell of Growth. Okay, I definitely think Blighted Woodland is just a phenomenal card in general, and absolutely what something like our deck is looking for. Otherwise, Plummet's a fine sideboard card, but Blighted Woodland's just a very good card. Wow, tabled Oron Reef Invoker is very surprising. We're going to slam that over the Spires. Okay, well, Blighted Cataract. Currently no fixing, which is going to make the 3-color plan not work that well. Well, I guess Blighted Woodland is legitimately fixing. I guess we just take another combat trick. I don't love it, but if we don't end up in blue, I don't know about going into that. All right, super late culling drone. Get a white pick now that I think is reasonable. Probably like it more than the Angelic Gift. Royal Mage's Trick. Well, probably not doing that, to be honest. Likely not doing 3-color at the moment. All right, well, picked up another Sunken Hollow, which is worth some... Reclaimer's pretty good. Which is worth some tickets and also just randomly fixes and is good with Converge. So I think we're just going to take it. Don't exactly know what 3 colors we want to do yet. Otherwise, Touch of the Void, I mean, probably be pretty easy pickup. Just a nice removal spell that feeds process. But we're going to take Sunken Hollow. Likely play it if we end up with in either of the colors. All right, we have a Baloth in green. We have Touch of the Void in red. I feel like with the ramp, we can really make this territorial Baloth work, but I might want some actual removal spells. There's also Outnumber. Outnumber can't hit face, though, which makes, I think, Touch of the Void better. And, Touch of the Void doesn't require, doesn't have any requirements, basically, besides having some mana. I only have a couple. Let's sort by color. This is a point where we sort by color, because I think Turn Against is absolutely worth splashing. Touch of the Void maybe a little bit less so. Maybe I can just take the Territorial Baloth and be happy, because Baloth's a great card. Maybe I can focus more on green-white, possibly. I love the Cliffside Lookout, actually. But I think we're more likely to see this a bit later. Actually, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Basically, I'm just going to take the Baloth because we're 100% in green, and Baloth's a good card. But I'm going to start seeing what wheels a little bit more to kind of help me guide me towards my second color. All right, we have a Stone Fury, which is good removal. I actually am a big fan of Ondu Rising. I think this card is pretty phenomenal. 5 mana for a 4/4. Give all your guys lifelink that turn is good. 6 mana to get 4/4 haste. All your guys have lifelink. I think is just super strong. Nothing else in here is insanely good. I think Lithomancer's Focus is fine. Invoker's a great mana sink. I think I'm going to take the Rising. I like this card. Okay. Lifespring Druid seems like the card our deck wants, especially since at this point I think we might do these 3 colors. Possibly. Still, Vile Aggregate is still fine in this deck too. We have a couple Devoid guys that were just token production things. I probably just want the Druid. Ondu Champion's fine. We're not like a... I guess I do want some more synergies in my deck. So if I want more synergies, I'm going to want some more token production plus pump or what else? We don't have a ton of allies, right? No, we don't really have a serious ally theme going. I'm going to take the Druid. I mean, this strikes me as a deck that can pretty comfortably play expensive stuff. Swarm Surge is a thing with tokens. Call the Scions is more token production, which I like. I may just want the Processor. We do have an Ingester. I'm trying to think how good Aggregate's going to be on the splash. I may not love it on the splash, but a 7 mana 7/8 in this deck that's already got some ramp going for it feels like something I'm comfortable doing. I'm going to take the Processor. Okay, Processor Assault. Seems like actually a difficult card to play since we don't have a lot of ways to process. Whereas Rune Processor, you don't really need to process to make this card good. If that makes sense. It's pretty much just good anyway because it's big. I could just take a second Call to Scions, which I'm fine with. More ramp. As well as just puts bodies out. We'll take Call to Scions here. Chasm Guide. Not that great. Royal Spout is good. I don't know if we can splash it all that easily. Otherwise, Ondu Greathorn is fine too. A landfall card in a deck that looks like it can make landfall work reasonably well with Double Swell of Growth and Blighted Woodland. Maybe we start working towards more of a landfall theme. We don't have to, though. It can be a mini sub-theme and still be fine. Otherwise, Sure Strike is, I presume, a good... I think actually Ondu Greathorn is a pretty good card, though. I'm going to take it here. First Strike blocker is nice. Okay, Invoker number 2. We have Psy Leopard, though, which is a nice, cheap, efficient beater, especially with Double Swell of Growth. I think we're gonna work towards maybe more of a landfall themed deck. I think another Invoker would be fine too, but I want to try this Leopard out. It's also uncommon. Seems like a pretty efficient beater. All right, Sure Strike seems like a pretty nice pickup here for us. Otherwise, plummet out of sideboard, but we'll take the Sure Strike. Okay, Vestige is fine. Works well. Works well with Pump, which we have 3 of already, and it works well with Aggregate, and it's just a fine body for price, so I guess we'll just take it. Our fixing is kind of lackluster, but we're so focused on green that I'm not sure it's that big of a deal. There's nothing in here I care about anyway, so we'll just take it. All right, Blister Pod versus Boiling Earth. I mean, Blister Pod is not insane unless you have, like, some sort of sack theme. Whereas Boiling Earth, I think, is actual good sideboard card and a pretty good main deck card, possibly. I'm going to take the Boiling Earth. I think Blister Pod is better in decks that can get something out of the sack effect. I think it's actually a fine card in general, but just not exactly what I'm looking for. Out of these three, I think Coilhelm Guide is actually the most annoying to play against. Crumble to Dust is a sideboard card I'll consider. Volcanic Upheaval, once again, also a sideboard card to consider. Okay, kind of an interesting deck. We have some... I kind of feel like we should be a little bit more in the landfall theme. But we'll see. Bring the Light, I think, is worth a couple tickets. Ruination Guide, I mean, works well with all of our token producers. I think we're probably just going to take a second turn against, which is still just a really, really strong card. Hope to Wheel, Druid, Baloth, Mantis. Any of those would be fine. I think Bring the Light probably went down quite a bit, but last I checked, it was worth like 2 tickets. But I think Turn Against is just one of those cards that, like I said, really, yeah, it's plummeted quite a bit. I sold the first one for like 4 tickets, and now it's below 2. We're going to take a second Turn Against. I think that card is just super strong. Is Lumbering Falls worth anything? How could it not be, right? I thought Tango lands were still pretty good value. Maybe not. Let's find out, shall we? Oh, it's only worth about a ticket. Well, that's pretty bad. Well, why don't we just take a third Turn Against, because this card is just insane. I'm really not overvaluing Turn Against. I know for a fact that it does insane things. Definitely better with a sack outlet of some sort, but just Turn Against for days. I mean, it really is incredibly strong. Okay. Marasa Ranger, more landfall. Clutch of Currents is good. Taduru Stalwart is fine. We already have one, and we're almost assuredly in 3 color. Although, yeah, our fixing is bad enough where I might just end up cutting white, maybe? Yeah, for all these red cards, I could see that. Maybe I just take the Marasa Ranger then, and we play 2-color landfall. I don't know how good the Ranger is yet. I think it's probably fine. It's a little bit pricey to use that ability, though, admittedly. Otherwise, Shatterskull Recruit's not bad either. We kind of a little bit top-heavy already, though. Fine taking the Ranger. Let's focus on green. Try the Ranger out. I'm trying to think if Stalwart's worth it, but... Actually, Slide Runner is what we should be taking. This is just the better landfall card. I just didn't notice that right away. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, we might just dip out of white, possibly. Splashing Ondu Rising is not out of the realm of possibility, but splashing Stasis Snare, I think, is just not going to happen. Sentinel is fine. It's not amazing in this deck. We do have some colorless spells, though. Blighted Woodland number 2 is probably fine with the landfall. I probably just want Stone Fury, but more expensive spells might not be the most attractive thing. Yeah, it's pretty much Stone Fury, or actually maybe Valakut Invoker. More rewards for having a bunch of mana. I think I'm just going to take the Stone Fury, though, get some more removal. I'm okay with that. All right. Rot Shambler number 2. We do have some Call to Scions. We have an Eyeless Watcher. I don't know how good it is, though, yet. Eyeless Watcher, yeah, more ramp. And puts a bunch of bodies out. We don't have a ton of rewards for a bunch of bodies in this deck. We're more, like I said, landfall themed, which maybe makes me want to... Why would that make me want to take a Shambler instead? I don't know. Maybe just the best card for us. I don't think we need a second processor. Watcher kind of fills the curve a little bit better. I'm going to take the second Watcher. Maybe hope to see the Shambler a little bit late. All right. Territorial Baloth number 2 seems very good. There's also Reproach, though. I think we're a little bit creature light, but I guess Call to Scions count as a creature, so we're really at like 15 creatures. Although I think the Stalwart's probably just not going to happen. Um, Lifespring Druid's a little bit less necessary now, but it's still fine. Probably just want the Baloth. Maybe dip out of Ondu Rising. We have a lot of 5-drops though, but I mean we're probably playing 18 lands. I actually just want the Predator. Now that I think about it, let's focus on the landfall cards that we do have, which are some pretty good ones actually. And I think Predator is being cheaper than Baloth, and since we're a little bit congested in the 5-drop slot already, I'm a little bit more on board with that. Cliffside Lookout is good with the token cards. Ondu Champion though might be what I'm looking for. Actually, another Invoker, just another cheap beater, probably what I'm looking for. Get some more cheap spells. Yeah, I'm okay with that. We have to come up with some cuts already. Grove, oh yeah, we want this Rumbler for sure. All right, well, there's also a Valakut Predator number 2, but I think the Rumbler is, I mean, it's got Trample. It's probably pretty insanely strong. We already have to make some cuts, which should be fine. Might just dip out of these cards. Possibly don't need the processor. I wish I could get both of these, but we'll take the Rumbler. I'm fine with that. It's a good card. All right, I think we want the Sure Strike here. Just another pretty solid combat trick. Fine with that, probably. Good with our Tramplers. All right, Invoker is a great mana sink. Probably more interesting than Blister Pod. Plummet's a good sideboard card, but I feel like we kind of want to play Invoker in this deck quite a bit. Recruit, another 5-drop. It is a decent one, though, but, well, we already have to make some cuts. I'm not even sure I'm doing the Lifespring Druid anymore. Probably just completely unnecessary at this point, since we've got this like landfall theme. I'll just take the card we can consider. 3rd, Swell of Growth. I mean, we have the landfall. Do I really want to play? I mean, maybe. It can bash in a bunch of damage. 2nd Invoker's probably not necessary. I'll take a 3rd Swell. We have a lot of Swell of Growth. All right. Sure. So, not the deck I initially sought out to make, but last pick, Cliffside. How could someone take a land over Cliffside Lookout? Maybe, was it a foil land? I don't even know. I kind of feel like we're going to cut the token theme from our deck and really just focus fire on just this landfall theme. So, do I still... I kind of wanted to try Rot Shambler even without the token theme, but I mean... I think we're going to end up cutting some token cards. We top out at 5, so even though we're playing 18 lands, I don't mind running 6 5-drops. I don't think that's a big deal. I feel like Druid probably goes just because we don't need it. I'd rather have spread out bodies, but then again, maybe I don't end up playing all of these. I probably don't need Vile Aggregate now. Even though it's a fine card, it's good with Pump, though, because it's got Trample. It's got like a million abilities. I'm trying to think what the weakest cards in our deck are. Might be actually just the Rot Shambler. I feel like, I mean, we're going to have guys die, but overall I'd more thematically like to sort of stick to landfall. I still have to make 3 cuts? Jeez. Well, we're playing Blighted Woodland, that is for sure. And with all of this triple Swell of Growth, combat trick action, triple Turn Against is mind-blowing at the moment. These count as creatures, so we really have like 16 creatures right now. Maybe I don't need triple Swell of Growth then. Or maybe I don't need double Sure Strike, since Swell of Growth works a little bit, you know, more thematically. How many landfall cards did we really get, though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, probably don't need triple Swell of Growth. Um, is Eyeless Watcher... Maybe cut an Eyeless Watcher. I feel like Call to Scions is probably better. You get an extra 1/1 out of Eyeless Watcher, but it's not like you can sack the Eyeless Watcher. So I think we could probably cut one of those. And then the question is, could I get away with 17 lands? I feel like I really do want to hit my land drops. We have triple Invoker. Yeah, we want to get to 18 lands. Or yeah, 8 mana rather, not 18 lands. Is Stone Fury not that good? I mean, it is good, but is that what this deck's looking for? I really don't want to cut any more creatures. So I guess maybe I cut a Sure Strike. Just run 1. Still have 3 combat tricks. Vile Aggregate is... What's the best I could hope it could be if I have... Vile Aggregate does feel a little bit... That plan seems out of place in this deck. It's just such a good card in general, but the ingest is actually just pointless. And most of the time it's going to be like a 1/5. This might just not be a... If I was going to swap it for a creature though, which would I swap it for? Maybe the Processor? Just because it's just a big threat and we're running 18 lands. We have no way to process, though, which makes it less good. Could I try out Rot Shambler? I mean, Rot Shambler's good with Scion tokens, but we don't even have that many of them. I mean, what am I running Vile Aggregate? This strikes me as a deck that wants to be aggressive. And if I want to be aggressive, I want better attackers. So what's a better attacker in this deck is like the real question. What's a better cheap attacker? I mean, I could go down to like 14 creatures, including the Scions, and bring back a Sure Strike or a Swell of Growth as another combat trick to like push through damage, but I don't love it. I mean, the Trample pairs well with Sure Strike and Swell of Growth. I feel like I'd rather just have a processor, just have a big 7 mana 7/8 rather than a 3 mana 1/5 most of the time. I've only got like an actual 4 other cards that actually interact with it, which isn't that many. I don't think. It doesn't feel like that many, at least. And I feel like with 18 lands, I can get to 7 mana fairly easily, especially with 3 ramp effects. 5 ramp effects if you count Swell of Growth, although probably shouldn't. Yeah, I think we'll cut Vile Aggregate. It's a great card. It just doesn't feel like the right deck for it. Even Call to Scions seem a bit underwhelming, to be honest, but getting turn 4 Recruit or Baloth is pretty good. Probably better than a 1/5 Trample Ingester on turn 3 would be. I don't know, that's challenging. I mean, I could also get out of combat tricks and go more creature heavy, but I feel like these combat tricks are pretty good. Alright, I guess I'm running it like this. This was a challenging one. I'm not sure if I did the optimal build for this either, but so we're more red than green, but what do we need earlier? I guess we need green. Yeah, we need green earlier than red, and we just need double red later. Okay, so I think we'll go opposite of what they say. And yeah, I mean, this deck looks pretty interesting. We managed to do a nice little mini landfall sub-theme. I think it's fairly aggressive looking. We'll see how this triple turn against plays. I've got high hopes for it. So, all right, I guess this is the deck. We'll play it like this. And we'll see you round one.